My name is Dan Saunders from Basemap, and I'm here today to chat to you about Visography Tracc version 1.2. So, we're on the Home tab of the latest release at the moment, and the first thing you'll notice is a new hand grabber tool here with the selection and measure tools underneath. This is a floating toolbar, so it will sit with you on every single one of the tabs. You can easily select an item and go back to hand grabber tool without any fuss. Also on the Home tab, in my project here demo, we've got further information on each project. So here we can see in my demo project, you can see the date of creation again was the 21st of October. We see the database size is 55.75 megabytes, and this GUID relates back to SQL, which means if you want to ever look up this database information, this is the database name you need to look for. We also have a new feature called the column editor. This also goes by the name of the DBF editor. What this does is it allows you to look at the DBF part of a shapefile, which is where all the data is contained, and allows you to add an extra column that's the attributes of two further columns. So, for example, if you wanted to add two columns together and create a brand new column, the DBF editor will allow you to do that. We also have a new button called the Use Map option. This allows us to bring a Bing or Google Map background into the background of our map view. This is all set in the settings file. So under settings, under map type, we've got the option here to select Bing or Google, and once you've one selected, make sure you insert the map key, which can be found on the Bing Maps web portal or the Google Maps portal. Once you have that filled in, you can use the Use Map button, which will then populate the background with a lovely Bing map for you, as you can see just here. Again, when you zoom in, you'll then see this updates with the various scaling options. The next new options we have is on our PT network tab. So if I go to our PT network tab and activate my bus and rail network I previously loaded, what we'll do here is first of all we'll see that we'll get various different colour dots. If I turn off my Bing Maps, it makes it a bit easier. So here we can see various green dots and black dots. If I expand this, you'll then see that we've got sub-layers now for our public transport networks. We've got the areas in green showing the bus stop locations, and the areas in black are where the rail stations are located. This is a much requested feature which is now included in Visography Tracc. Other new features on the public transport network tab as well. If we wanted to, for example, select some stops, so if I select some stops just over here, what we can then do after selecting the stops, we can choose to save that as a selection as a CIF file. That will then reference the stops, find out which service is called there, and export the whole service as a CIF file. So an example here being is you had the data loaded for a region, such as the Northwest region, and you only want to look at access in Altrincham. What you could do is select the Altrincham boundary and create yourself a brand new CIF file that only has the services that intersect with that area. Other new features we've got on the save option, you can obviously save everything as a CIF file as previously. We've also got the option to save the whole network as a GTFS file if required. On the other tab, we've got the option to import information using international stops. We now support different projections, so we can load in long lat stops and so forth for our international partners as well. And finally, on the delete option, we've got the option to delete unused stops. So all the stops that are held in the database we can delete if there's no services attached to them, and we can obviously delete our PT network tabs as requested. The final button here is the DRT service, the demand responsive transport. So this is used to look at non-scheduled services that don't have a particular pickup area or the pickup points or stops. This looks at things such as areas. So if I create a brand new service here, call it DRT1, the operator needs to be 4-digit code, DRT1, and I can give it a name as well, but this is all we need to start off with. I can then save this and create a route for it. Once the route is created, I can specify pickup area. If I zoom in on this area just here and say my pickup area, in this example, there's a very rough point, and then confirm that as a pickup area. The drop-off can either be a point on the map we can draw, or you can feed into an existing Naptown stop. I'm going to do a point, as I'm selected just over here. Okay, confirm that. Then, like normal public transport, we specify the days in which it operates. So I'm going to say it operates Monday to Friday. I'm going to say it runs from 7 in the morning to 1900 to 7 in the evening. The next option we get is to specify the vehicle type. So I could use the minibus, taxi, coach, or anything like that. I'm going to leave it as minibus in this example. You can put capacity information there. It won't be used when the calculation is done, but it's always worthwhile for a point of reference. The average number of pickups we can put in there, so say, for example, there's 5 pickups. I can say part of these 5 pickups, it takes 1 minute to do each pickup. This number of pickups will then be used, this 5 minutes, this times by this, so 5 minutes, will then be added on to any journey time that's contained within this area just here. What we can also do as well is we can treat the whole area the same, so the whole list can be given as one value, and that value can be either the minimum, maximum, or average. Or what we can do is we can untick that, and each origin point will be treated separately amongst there. And then to specify the journey time going from the pickup area to the drop-off point, we can first of all specify a maximum speed, and on top of that we can specify to use a proportionate speed of each road link, or what we can do is do a manual creation of a set speed for each one, so A road motorway, A road, B road in kilometres per hour. If we then save that, it will then be saved to our database and then can then be called upon later on as part of the calculation process. The other thing we can do, which I'm not going to cover in this video, is we can also import GTFS data. Keep your eyes peeled. There'll be another video showing how we can load in GTFS data later on into Tracc. So next options on the road network, we haven't got many new options here, apart from we've got a new delete. We can either delete the road network, or using the selection tool, we could select some road links and just delete them if we wanted to. But not much new on there. Again, the origin and destination are treated the same, and as is the census. However, on the calculation tab, we've got a brand new calculator that can be utilised, which is the stop frequency. If I give this a press here, what we can do is we can choose to style all of our bus, rail, or combination of both. I'll just do bus in this example. So all our bus stops, and we can look at the frequency the bus stop has on a Monday peak between 7 and 9. We look at the service frequency, or the combined stop frequency, which adds all the services together. I'll do it as a service frequency in this example. And I can choose to do the output as a console or thematic map, or as a separate CSV file. I'm going to do it as this option for the moment. If I then go finish, all the application will do is run a very quick query to find out the frequency at each of the stops. And then what will happen is we'll be prompted with to provide the results of thematic map or contour showing each of the frequency numbers. So if I choose here, the maximum value is 11, so if I choose 4, so the first one I'll do up to 4 an hour, next one is 8 an hour, and next one is 12 an hour. If I then go OK, you'll then see all the stops that activate on a Monday morning will then be coloured. Then what I can do is I can pick and choose. So if I only want to see the stops have between 8 and 12 buses an hour stopping there, we can see them coloured in blue in this example. And again, using the Save button, you can export this as a CSV file if you so wish. Other new features we've got in the application to just activate some origins and some destinations. So under the calculation, we've got a few new options. The first thing you'll notice is if you create a DRT service, it will appear here, so you can select to use that. Now please note, if I was to select a DRT service that only ran on a Saturday, and I was to choose Monday here, it would then be ignored. We also have a set frequency, so we can specify a minimum frequency of say 1 an hour, it could be higher than that, which will then eliminate any stops that during this period don't have at least one bus an hour stopping there. This is used to eliminate stops that might only have one bus on a Thursday turning up. On the next page, we've got a few new options as well. The first thing you'll notice is the Use Road Network envelope is now deselected by default, so please reselect that if that's something you used previously. Also going further down, we've got the option to do a PT network envelope. So using the same example as I used earlier on, so we've had all the northwest data loaded and we're able to look at Altrincham. What this will do is we'll take the extent of our origins and destinations, do a 20-kilometre buffer, and only use bus stops within that 20 kilometres, which will then mean that most of the northwest data will then be ignored, thus speeding up the calculation. We also have the option here, so the max distance to first stop we already know about, but the maximum number of first stops adds to that. So say around each origin point or destination point, you can say only look at the 100 closest stops. So it'll be either the 100 closest or within 2 kilometres. If you then go finish, that will then run through. Once you've run through a calculation, we've got a few new options of how to interpret them. So here we've got our normal calculation that we're used to, so I'll do 3 bands at 10, 20, 30. There's not much new on this stage here. We'll still get the 10, 20 and 30-minute contour banding. I'll just wait for that to be produced and zoom to layer. So here you've got a 10, 20, 30 minutes. Now the new feature here is if you then wanted to further interpret that, say actually I'm only interested in access to one of my schools. So if I go contour per destination, search my destinations that are part of this result file, I can then see if I want to look at say Cardiff High School, I can double click that, again choose 10, 20, 30 minutes and go OK. I'll then turn my old contour off. What we'll then do is we'll see you've got a contour for Cardiff High School being located here, showing the 10, 20, 30 minute access area for just that one school. So you can do one calculation and produce many different contours using the same results if you'd wanted to. We've also got the option to export to CSV as before, but if we choose results here, we can specify how many we want to do. So before we had two options, the closest or all of them. Now we've just got the one option, but you specify how many destinations you want to export. So 20 is the number of destinations I have, but if you want to know the closest one, you put 1 here and choose export. If you wanted the 10 closest destinations, you put 10 here and then choose export as well. The next new option we've got under the results is an option called result comparison. So if I select this, what this does is it allows me to take two results and compare them against each other. So I might do, in this example, PT cycle max. So what I'll do is I'll select one result, so I chose PT, the next one I chose cycle, and the mode here is I can specify what I want to happen. So A minus B would be result 1 minus result 2. A plus B would be result 1 plus result 2. The minimum would be the minimum of that result or that result. And the maximum would be obviously the maximum of 2. So I've chosen max in this example. Then choose export. It'll run a quick query for us. This takes just a second to run through. All this will then be doing is checking each result against each other and then saving the maximum value of the two. This will then be saved directly as a new result just up here. So wait 1 second, there it is. So you've got PT cycle max. We can then see it says the merged function underneath it. If I then double click, again I can choose any amount of bands I want. So I'll choose 3 bands as an example, 20, 40 and 60. I'll then go OK. I'll then show me the access time up to 60 minutes using either PT or cycling and the maximum value of them two. This is like a worst case scenario. And there we go, there we have a new result. We see most of the area is covered within 20 minutes, with 40 being in purple and blue being up to 60 minutes. The final new feature that we have regards census data. So what we can do with our result on the demographic data, we'll notice we've got a new option here called demographic area. So what this will do is it will query the data, and what it will do is it will look at our results, and for every one of our areas, so output area, super output area, postcode areas, anything like that, it will give us the percentage of people that can get to a school from each of our age ranges, in this example within 20 minutes. This will then be produced as a long list showing all the output area codes, and after that we'll have all the result information. So here we'll see 100 representing 100%, and -1 represents that there's actually none of that population within that output area, and 0 representing 0% can get there. So here we've got a few different values, 40%, 100%, and so forth. We've got hundreds of rows here of data. You can further analyse or load into other applications if you see fit. So that's an introduction to the latest version of Tracc. If you have any sort of questions at all, please don't hesitate to go onto the forum or onto the portal, or to email tracksupport@basemap.co.uk, and the members of the team are able to help you out. Thank you very much for your time. Goodbye.